Welcome to NSG 411, Study Session 6, Functions and Components of Management Motivation. Introduction. Motivation is the general desire or willingness of someone to do something. In this study session, we will examine the concept of motivation. We will also discuss the process of motivation and list its type. To conclude, we will examine forms and various strategies for motivation. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Define motivation. 2. Discuss the process of motivation. 3. List the types of motivation. 4. Examine forms and various strategies for motivation. Concept of motivation. Nearly all the conscious behavior of human being is motivated. The internal needs and drives lead to tensions, which in turn result into actions. The need for food results into hunger, and hence, a person is motivated to eat. A manager is required to create and maintain an environment in which individuals work together in groups towards the accomplishment of common objectives. A manager cannot do a job without knowing what motivates people. The building of motivating factors into organizational roles, the staffing of these roles, and the entire process of leading people must be built on knowledge of motivation. It is necessary to remember that level of motivation varies both between individuals and within individuals at different times. Today, in the increasingly competitive environment, maintaining a highly motivated workforce is the most challenging task. The art of motivation starts by learning how to influence the behavior of the individual. This understanding helps to achieve both the individual as well as organizational objectives. Motivation is a powerful tool in the hands of leaders. It can persuade, convince, and propel people to act. It is a general tendency to believe that motivation is a personal trait. Some people have it and others don't. In practice, some are labeled to be lazy because they do not display an outward sign of motivation. However, individuals differ in their basic motivational drives. It also depends upon their areas of interest. The concept of motivation is situational, and its level varies between different individuals and at different times. If you understand what motivates people, you have at your command the most powerful tool for dealing with them. It is the will to act. It is the willingness to exert high levels of effort towards organizational goals, conditioned by the effort and ability to satisfy some individual need. Motivation is getting somebody to do something because they want to do it. It was once assumed that motivation had to be injected from outside, but it is now understood that everyone is motivated by several differing forces. Motivation is the driving force or our get up and go factor, which stimulates human senses into the achievement of goals that have been set out for them. Motivation can also be associated from having enthusiasm to do or be something. Enthusiasm means the inspiration within humans. Motivation is a general term applied to the entire class of drives, desires, needs, wishes, and similar forces. To say that managers motivate their subordinates is to say that they do those things which they hope will satisfy these drives and desires and induce the subordinate to act in a desired manner. To motivate others is the most important of management tasks. It comprises the abilities to communicate, to set an example, to challenge, to encourage, to obtain feedback, to involve, to delegate, to develop and train, to inform, to brief, and to provide a just reward. Process of motivation. In the initiation, a person starts feeling lackness. There is an arousal of need so urgent that the bearer has to venture in search to satisfy it. This leads to creation of tension, which urges the person to forget everything else and cater to the aroused need first. This tension also creates drives and attitudes regarding the type of satisfaction that is desired. This leads a person to venture into the search of information, thus ultimately lead to evaluation of alternatives where the best alternative is chosen. After choosing the alternative, an action is taken. Because of the performance of the activity, satisfaction is achieved, which then relieves the tension in the individual. Types of motivation. 1. Achievement motivation. It is the drive to pursue and attain goals. An individual with achievement motivation wishes to achieve objectives and advance up on the ladder of success. Here, accomplishment is important for its own sake and not for the rewards that accompany it. It is similar to Kaizen approach of Japanese management. 2. Affiliation motivation. It is a drive to relate to people on a social basis. Persons with affiliation motivation perform work better when they are complimented for their favorable attitude and cooperation. 3. Competence motivation. It is the drive to be good at something, allowing the individual to perform high-quality work. Competence-motivated people seek job mastery, take pride in developing and using their problem-solving skills, and strive to be creative when confronted with obstacles. They learn from their experience. 4. Power motivation. It is the drive to influence people and change situations. Power-motivated people wish to create an impact on their organization and are willing to take risks to do so. 5. Attitude motivation. Attitude motivation is how people think and feel. It is their self-confidence, their belief in themselves, their attitude to life. It is how they feel about the future and how they react to the past. 6. Incentive motivation. It is why a person or a team reaps a reward from an activity. It is you do this and you get that attitude. It is the types of awards and prizes that drive people to work a little harder. 7. Fear motivation. Fear motivation coerces a person to act against will. It is instantaneous and gets the job done quickly. It is helpful in the short run. Forms of motivation. Motivation, as earlier identified, can be intrinsic or extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation. This refers to motivation that is driven by an interest or enjoyment in the task itself and exists within the individual rather than relying on any external pressure. Research has found that it is usually associated with high achievement and enjoyment. Intrinsic motivation is a form of self-determination. Extrinsic motivation. This is a form of motivation that is derived from outside of the individual. The common extrinsic forms of motivation are rewards like money and grades, coercion and threat of punishment, competition. Strategies for motivation. The following are the strategies for motivation. 1. Positive reinforcement. 2. Effective discipline and punishment. 3. Treating people fairly. 4. Satisfying employees' needs. 5. Setting work-related goals that are realistic. 6. Restructuring jobs. 7. Base reward on job performance. The motivational system must be tailored to the situation and the organization. In a study conducted in Minneapolis gas company, it was found that security was the highest rated factor for motivation. The other factors are advancement, type of work, company which they are proud to work for. Surprisingly, factors such as pay, benefits and working condition were given a low rating. So, the contrary to common belief, money is not the prime motivator. Motivation theorists, their theories. The factors that motivate an individual keep changing as one climbs the ladder of age and maturity. And also, achievement of one goal set the ball rolling for another one to be achieved. Thus, to be motivated is a constant need. There are times when one faces a period of demotivation and everything seems bleak. It is then that they need to find what would motivate them back into action. Thus, there are different factors that can serve as motivators to different individuals. So, different theorists identified various theories with respect to their beliefs. Theories of motivation have been classified into content theories and process theories. Content theories. Theory Z, or Maslow's hierarchical of needs theory. This theory was developed by a psychologist, Abraham Maslow. He holds that all the good qualities are inherent in people, at least at birth, although later they are gradually lost. A man's personality is the sum total of his works. Only the man's work survives him at death, and this work is perhaps the essence of Maslow's hierarchical of needs theory, as it is more commonly known. The basic human needs according to Maslow are physiological needs. The body needs water, food, oxygen, elimination, rest, exercise, sex, shelter, and protection from the environment. People have a strong drive for self-preservation, and whenever their basic physiological needs are threatened, the needs become prepotent. In an affluent society, these needs are probably not motivators. Thus, personnel should not be overworked, meal and rest breaks should be provided, and pay should be adequate for food, shelter, healthcare, and recreation. Safety needs. Everyone needs physical, emotional, and financial safety. People do not want to worry about inadequate income because of loss of job, accident, or old age. Therefore, arbitrary management actions, favoritism toward or discrimination against employees, and unpredictable administration of policy are dangerous to safety needs and should be avoided. Love needs. This includes recognition as an accepted member of a group, being an integral part of the operation, giving and receiving in friendship, affectionate relations with others. A cohesive work group is likely to be more effective than an equal number of people working separately. Esteem needs. These needs include achievement, competence, status recognition, appreciation, reputation, and respect contribute to one's self-confidence and self-esteem. Thus, Management can help meet the need by offering praises, titles to compensate good work. A person whose self-esteem is satisfied has feelings of self-confidence, worth, strength, capability, adequacy, usefulness, and being needed in the society. Self-actualization, which is the highest of all the needs, and it includes feelings of accomplishment, responsibility, challenge, advancement, all of which contribute to self-fulfillment. In contrast to Taylor's monistic theory as the primary motivator, Maslow maintained that people are motivated by a desire to satisfy a hierarchy of needs. He hypothesized that satisfaction of the basic physiological needs triggers the emergence of more abstract needs, and the satisfied needs is no more a motivator. Man behavior is seen as dominated by his unsatisfied needs, and he is a perpetually wandering animal. For when one need is satisfied, he aspires for the next higher one. This is therefore seen as an ongoing activity in which the man is totally absorbed in order to attain perfection through self-development. The highest state of self-actualization is characterized by integrity, responsibility, magnanimity, simplicity, and naturalness. Certain conditions are prerequisites for basic need satisfaction. When basic needs are thwarted, the individual is threatened. These conditions include freedom to speak, that is, communication, freedom to do what one wishes to do without harming others, freedom to express oneself, creativity, freedom to investigate and seek for information, freedom to defend oneself, justice, fairness, honesty, and orderliness in the group. A long-satisfied need may become unvalued, having never been deprived. A person does not regard such a need as being important. If two needs emerge, a person will probably want the more basic one satisfied first. Clayton Alderfer's modified need theory. He reduced Maslow's hierarchy of need theory from 5 to 3 levels, which are existence, relatedness, growth. The theory stipulates that energy can be redirected to a lower level need when higher level needs are frustrated. That is, people will regress to satisfaction of lower needs. Comparing Alderfer's scheme with Maslow's, existence needs will equate to physiological and safety needs. Relatedness needs would equate to belongingness, social and love needs, and growth needs would equate to self-esteem and self-actualization. Frederick Axbach, hygiene or motivation theory. Frederick believed that people work first and foremost in their own self-enlightened interest, for they are truly happy and mentally healthy through work accomplishment. He stated that people's needs are of 2 types, namely 1. Animal needs, hygiene factors. This includes supervision, interpersonal relations, working conditions, and salary. Axbach argued that pay is at best a hygiene factor. Poor pay reduces motivation, but good pay does not of itself create enthusiasm. 2. Human needs, motivators. This includes a recognition, work, responsibility, and advancement. Unsatisfactory hygiene factors can act as demotivators or dissatisfiers, but if satisfactory, their emotional effect is limited. According to him, motivation is complex, and he has identified several myths about motivators, such as shorter working weeks, increasing wages, fringe benefits, sensitivity or human relations training, communication. Hygiene factors satisfy animal needs but not human needs. MC-Clinard's basic needs theory. David MC-Clinard identified 3 basic needs that all people have in varying degrees. 1. The need for achievement. This involves a desire to make contribution, excel, or succeed. People with this need are eager for responsibility and take calculated risk. 2. The need for power. This involves a desire to be in control. People with this need want to be in control and desires to influence others. 3. The need for affiliation. People with this need desire working in human environment and seek out meaningful friendships. They want to be respected and avoid decisions or actions that oppose group norms. They are interested in morale than productivity. This theory emphasizes that management should match personnel with assignments. A project with well-defined objectives should be handled by a person with high achievement. Work involving unpleasant tasks should be handled by a person with high need for power rather than a person with high affiliation need who is sympathetic. Process theories. The 4 process theories of motivation are reinforcement theory, expectancy theory, equity theory, and goal setting. Most behavior within organizations is learned behavior, such as the perceptions, attitudes, goals, emotional reactions, and skills. Practice that occurs during the learning process results in a relatively enduring change in behavior. Skinner's positive reinforcement theory. This theory, otherwise known as operant conditioning or behavior modification theory, stipulates that learning occurs as a consequence of behavior. Behavior is strengthened or weakened by what follows. Behaviors are the operant and are controlled by altering the consequences with reinforcers or punishment. Reinforcers motivate, increasing the strength of a response or inducing its repetition. Continuous reinforcement speeds up early performance. Thus, positive or desired behaviors should be rewarded or reinforced. Negative reinforcement occurs when desired behaviors occur to avoid negative consequences of punishment. Behaviorist believes that people will repeat behavior when consequences are positive. Application of behavior modification is occurring in large companies, and nursing as a profession is not left out. The benefits of behavior modification are improved attendance, productivity, efficiency, and cost savings. Reinforcers focus on praise, recognition, and feedback. Victor Vroom expectancy theory. This theory states that motivation is dependent on how much someone wants something and an estimate of the probability of getting it. Valence is the strength of one's preference for something, which may be positive or negative. To be positive means something is wanted, while to be negative means the thing is not wanted. 0. Valence means to be indifferent about something. Expectancy is the probability of getting something through specific actions. Expectancy of 1 means the person believes that the action will result in an outcome. Expectancy of 0 indicates that the person has no expectancy. expectancy varies from one situation to another. Vroom believes that high valence and high expectation will lead to high motivation, while a low valence and expectation will lead to a low motivation. With either of the two low and the other high, a moderate motivation would be reached. He went ahead to give a formula as follows. M equals to EP times PO times V, where M is motivation. EP is belief that effort will lead to desired performance. PO is the anticipation that performance will lead to a particular outcome. V is value of reward. To be motivated, a person must find an outcome attractive. Certain actions will lead to the desired outcome, and so the person uses the outcome to determine if the action is worthwhile. An individual should be rewarded with what he or she perceives as important rather than what the manager perceives. For example, an individual may value a salary, whereas another may value promotion. Equity theory. This theory was developed by Joe Stacy Adams and others. They assert that people assess fairness by considering their inputs and the psychological, social, and financial rewards in comparison with those of others. Perceived inequality causes tension which is proportional to the magnitude of the perceived inequality. With inequality, the person tends to decrease his or her productivity and performance. Thus, the manager should be attentive to the perceived equity of the reward system. Equity can be achieved or restored in the workplace by changing outputs, attitudes, the reference person, or the situation. Research on equity theory has focused on pay. Goal-setting theory of luck. This is the first process theory of motivation. This theory is based on the goals as the determinant of behavior. The more specific the goals, the better the results produced. Goals are powerful forces that must be achievable. Goal clarity and accurate feedback increases security. A Theory X manager believes that his or her employees do not really want to work, that they would rather avoid responsibility, and that it is the manager's job to structure the work and energize the employee. Summary of the theory include: 1. Management is responsible for organizing the elements of productive enterprise such as money, materials, equipment, and people in the interest of economic ends. 2. With respect to people, this theory is a process of directing their efforts, motivating them, controlling their actions, modifying their behavior to fit the needs of the organization. 3. Without this active intervention by management, people would be passive, even resistant to organizational needs. They must therefore be persuaded, rewarded, punished, controlled, and their activities must be directed. This is management's task in managing subordinate managers or workers. Theory Y. This theory was propounded by Douglas M.C. Gregor. On contrast to Theory X, M.C. Gregor believed that people want to learn and that work is their natural activity to the extent that they develop self-discipline and self-development. They see their reward not so much in cash payment as in freedom to do difficult and challenging work by themselves. The manager's work is to dovetail the human wish for self-development into the organization's need for maximum productive efficiency. The basic objective of both manager and managed are therefore met, and with imagination and sincerity, the enormous potential can be tapped. The concepts of Theory Y are: 1. Management is responsible for organizing the elements of productive enterprise such as money, materials, equipment, and people in the interest of economic ends. 2. People are not by nature passive or resistant to organizational needs. They have become so as a result of experience in organizations. 3. The motivation, the potential for development, the capacity for assuming responsibility, the readiness to direct behavior towards organizational goal are all present in people. Management does not put them there. It is the responsibility of the management to make it possible for people to recognize and develop these human characteristics for themselves. 4. The essential task of management is to arrange organizational conditions and methods of operation so that people can achieve their own goals best by directing their own efforts towards organizational objectives. Chris Agiris, Psychological Energy Theory. This theorist asserts that people will exert more energy to meet their own needs than those of the organization. Disparity between the individual and organizational goals will make the person dissatisfied, tensed, conflict, and apathy. Thus, management should match personnel and jobs by taking into consideration their talents and interests so that their job will be interesting and challenging and self-actualization can be reached. Frederick Taylor's Monistic Theory. The monistic theory is derived from the principles of scientific management. Taylor believes that if an energetic person with high productivity learns that she earned no more than a lazy worker who did as little as possible, she would lose interest in giving optimal performance. Thus, an incentive was needed to prevent this loss. It should be possible to do more by producing more so that pay would depend on productivity. Incentives such as merit, increases, bonus systems, profit sharing are examples of monistic methods. Application of employee motivation theory to the workplace. Although there are many theories and much has been written about motivation, there is no easy way to motivate employees. Human motivation is diverse subtle and complex. To use the available information on motivation effectively, the manager will have to read and select and use those elements that appear to be practical and workable. Knowledge of motivation theories is essential to improving job performance of employees. Individual employees have different needs and goals, so managers will learn and use motivation theories selectively. The manager's main task is to develop a productive workplace. Individual employees have different needs and goals, so managers will learn and use motivation theories selectively. The manager's main task is to develop a productive workplace with and through those he or she is in charge of. The manager should motivate his or her team, both individually and collectively, so that a productive workplace is developed and maintained, and at the same time, employees derive satisfaction from other jobs. The main tools for motivating the team are approval, praise and recognition, trust, respect and high expectation, removing organizational barriers that stand in the way of individuals and group performance, job enrichment, good communications, financial incentives. The manager must not coerce but rather persuade, because persuasion is far more powerful than coercion, and they have much chance of success if they use persuasion. Persuasion builds morale, initiative, and morale. Below is a list of tips the manager can use to motivate individuals. The manager tells the follower to achieve their dreams. They should consume themselves with the motivation to achieve tremendous results from everything they attempt. Believe in themselves and in what they can do. Consider things on every angle and aspect. Don't give up and don't give in. Enjoy work as if they don't need money. Give more than what is enough. Hang on to their dreams. Just be themselves. Keep trying no matter how hard life may seem. Make things happen. Stop procrastinating. Take control of their life. Understand others. Zero in on their dreams and go for it. Prerequisites to motivate. We have to be motivated to motivate. Motivation requires a goal. Motivation once established does not last if not repeated. Motivation requires recognition. Participation has motivating effect. Seeing ourselves progressing motivates us. Challenge only motivates if you can win. Everybody has a motivational fuse. That is, everybody can be motivated. Group belonging motivates. Motivating different people in different ways. Motivation is not only in a single direction, that is, downwards. In the present scenario, where the workforce is more informed, more aware, more educated, and more goal-oriented, the role of motivation has left the boundaries of the hierarchy of management. Apart from superior motivating a subordinate, encouragement and support to colleague, as well as helpful suggestions on the right time, even to the superior, brings about a rapport at various work levels. Besides, where workforce is self-motivated, just the acknowledgement of the same makes people feel important and wanted. Difference between motivation, satisfaction, inspiration, and manipulation. Motivation refers to the drive and effort to satisfy a want or goal, whereas satisfaction refers to the contentment experienced when a want is satisfied. In contrast, inspiration is bringing about a change in the thinking pattern. On the other hand, manipulation is getting the things done from others in a predetermined manner. Hence, manipulation or external stimulus, as well as inspiration or internal stimulus, act as carriers of either demotivation or motivation, which in turn either results into dissatisfaction or satisfaction depending upon. Being a motivating manager. A. Treat staff well. Subordinates have to be treated with diligence. The manager has to stay friendly as well as maintain a level of distance with his staff. It's a tricky ground to tread. The staff looks up on the manager as their leader. They expect maturity, rationality, and understanding from their superiors. Simple things like calling people by their first name, chatting about their families for a while, or even a general inquiry about their well-being brings in a feeling of belongingness. Small gestures of this type help in building up of a cordial relationship. B. Think like a winner. A manager has to handle two situations, the winning and the losing. The cross is to think like a winner even when all the odds seem against you. It is necessary to equip yourself with all the tools of a winner. Always remember that winning and losing rotate in a cycle. If you have been losing from a long time, you are very near the winning edge. C. Recognize the differences. All the employees in the organization vibrate to a different pace. A treatment that motivates one may demotivate the other. Understanding the difference in temperament in between the individuals is important. D. Set realistic goals. Set moderate goals. Setting too high a task creates a feeling of non-achievement right from the beginning itself. The goal set should be such which seem feasible to the employees to be achieved. A slightly higher target than expected provides a challenge. E. Prevent demotivation. A job of the manager is to motivate people. His task requires him to punish and penalize people. This might create resentment in the mind of the staff members, which may affect the productivity of the workforce. Henceforth, care should be taken that punishments and penalties are used as a controlling technique and that they do not demotivate. F. Job financial enrichment and small job changes are handy. To make job more effective and to break the monotonous routine, small task additions and minor changes are always welcomed. Even small suggestions of the manager seem valuable to the employees. A few challenges in the same job can enrich it. G. Non-financial rewards. Monetary rewards have always had a high motivational capacity, but non-monetary rewards are equally helpful. A thank you note, a letter of appreciation, or even few words of praise can help smoothing the creases between the different levels of management. Study session summary. In this study session, we define motivation as the general desire or willingness of someone